Welcome everybody to Funeral Nation episode 142. 142. I'm Ryan Thogmartin. That is Jeff, the funeral commander Harbison, also pirate and mermaid and octopus tire together guy.
Hey, you know what? I live a very exciting life. So, a man of enjoying the sea. I have a captain status. There's a mermaid that's out there somewhere. I'm sure the siren calling me, and the octopus that could take it all down. So maybe that's the story.
That could be. I don't know. Whatever it is, it was something. And if you didn't watch 141, you're going to have to go watch it to figure out what the heck we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, the only reason that this is brought to you is because of what?
C&J Financial, our title sponsor.
Yeah. Jamie does a great job with his team. They're the most prolific group for assignment funding in the country, in our profession. And frankly, the funeral home that I'm associated with, we've used that from the very inception. If you want cash flow, and I'm not a real smart guy, but I believe cash flow is a good thing, right?
It's important.
C&J for your insurance assignments. Run that promo.
What payment method do you prefer families use for your goods and services? Most funeral homes and cemeteries prefer cash check or credit card over life insurance as the preferred method of payment. However, families who use life insurance are able to purchase the funeral service of their choice and spend 31% more on your goods and services. By encouraging more families to pay with insurance, you can create a better experience for the family and become more profitable without increasing your call volume. The reason most firms prefer cash check or credit card over life insurance is that insurance companies are a hassle to deal with, and payment can often take weeks or months to receive. With C&J Financial, you can receive funding within 24 hours of verification of benefit, thereby eliminating the hassle, headache, and cash flow delay in processing insurance death claims. Let us show you why hundreds of funeral homes all across America choose C&J for their assignment funding needs, and why many associations, accounting firms, and industry leaders recommend C&J to their clients and members.
So, Ryan, you did a really nice job last week on Disrupt You, number 59. I think it's worthy of spending some time today discussing personal brands.
Very cool.
What that is, and then we can discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, personal brand is where you are branding yourself as something. So it's a reflection on more of the authenticity of who you are, and your personal brand should be very authentic. For example, Jeff, you and I have, Funeral Nation is a way that we personal brand ourselves. Like we've not only built Funeral Nation as a recognizable brand, but us as personalities and individuals through just, people know what they're going to get with you. They know what they're going to get with me. I'm going to be a little blinged out most of the time, look a little funny. You're going to be telling them how it is, and you may have a cigar or rum in your hand, a little bit of the pirate life. So, there is the funeral commander is a brand, but it's part of your personal authenticity of who you actually are. And I think that is something that is terribly missed at the funeral home level, because 80% of funeral home business is relationship driven, and the person behind the logo will always be more valuable than the logo itself. And I think that is a key that is missed with a lot of funeral directors, of them being able to personal brand themselves and their staff to build those relationships in the community, where the sign is the sign and the logo has some value, but the people are more strong than the logo.
Right. And, a few key points on what you just shared. Number one, like the funeral commander brand, right? The funeral commander brand is me as a person, and what comes with it is, kind of letting you know what it is, and experience, been around the block a few times. I've been in a few battles, but it also connects me to that same personality recognized working with the foresight companies, because again, that's what we do. Just like with you, Ryan, and the blinged out and social media, that's disrupt media. That's what you do. You're a specialist in that area. So going to the funeral homes, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be, the funeral director dressed up in a stoic outfit with a stovepipe Gosh, that would be kind of cool, by the way. But it's you, the person. Ryan, I think you do a fabulous job in your brand building as a person from your husband and father duties. You get thrown off a little bit with your appearance because people are like that, but then you bring them back in from who authentically you are. And so for a funeral home owner, their personal brand is who they are, what they do. They could be a fireman in town. They could be on some elected board, part of a Lions club, Little League baseball. They need to know you as a person authentically, and then they connect that with the business. And then also to follow through, as you just said, it's not just the funeral home owner, the name. 80%, you just said it, most people go to a funeral home because they know somebody, not always the owner, all the way down to the person that has the most menial or hourly jobs. Give them a business card. Dan Assard tells a great story about a cemetery owner that gave his grounds people business cards. And somebody else said, why in the world would you do that? Because they're always out there with people. Right? And guess what happened? They started building business that way. So funeral home owners and cemeterians, it's extremely important not only to build your personal brand, but the personal brand of the people who are making your business run.
I could not agree more. And there's certain things in your life, you mentioned like EMT, firefighter, those things. I talked with a funeral home in Kentucky this morning where she said, look, we have a funeral director on staff that has had a heart transplant, and this is Heart Month. What can we do? Is that worth talking about? Absolutely, that's worth talking about. Like that is a story, and that more emotional connection with the consumer is going to resonate more than putting them on camera and having them answer questions about a funeral. Like the personal brand extends so far outside the funeral home that developing that personal brand really doesn't have to do anything with you being a funeral director. It could be you being a husband or wife, a mother or father, an amazing foster parent. We have a client that's an Ironman triathlon athlete. Like those are stories in themselves that people are going to resonate with and connect far more to than you being a funeral director. That content, and I've said it over the last 3 episodes of Disrupt You, death-related, funeral-centric content gets far less engagement than you just being an actual real human being. If you love donuts and that's your favorite food, then do a donut taste test with a different flavored donut every single week and build a brand around you being the donut guy. Like, Jeff, you have your own personalized cigar because it maps perfectly to who Jeff, the funeral commander Harbison is, with the Foresight companies, with Funeral Nation, the funeral commander. We have mutual clients where the first thing they want when they sign up with Foresight companies is they want a Jeff Harbison funeral commander cigar.
Right. Speaking of which, I believe I found a cigar sponsor
for
the show. So we could be doing some cool stuff there. I also read, and I think it's worth mentioning, there's funeral directors out here that are parts of all sorts of community clubs, like the Lions, right? I think those are great organizations, but if you're a member of a Lions in a small community, and let's say there's 25, 30 people at the club, don't just stop there. Become friends professionally with them on Facebook, because then those 25 or 30 expose you to thousands of people. Right.
The virability is huge. So you engage with those individuals at a meeting. Everything that happens at that meeting stays at that meeting. You engage with those users online. Yes, now you multiply by infinity of the potential reach around content and engagement and personal connections, and it's called social networking for a reason. And everybody's personal brand, you network with users. You network when you go to the local restaurant, the same restaurant every day for coffee, the same restaurant every day for lunch. That's part of your identity and who you are. That is your brand, and that all has immense value. So it's about touching, and it's about building something that extends far beyond what you do as a profession, but who you actually are as a human being.
I'm with you. In fact, it's interesting, just a side note before we move on. I remember when we opened our funeral home, I always carried really good funeral home pins with me, and I gave them out. And I would tell the person, look, hang on to this, because we've never had anyone dead come in the funeral home with this pin. If it runs out, call me really quick.
That's
Guess
right.
what happened?
People
They were
call
asking
you.
me for pins and stuff, and they remembered along the way.
Love it. It works, man. It works. Personal brand is immensely valuable, and you need to get your staff engaged in that. And then you probably ought to have some sort of agreement in place where if you're spending money to help them build their personal brand, that they don't take that brand somewhere else.
Yeah, that's when you call the foresight company.
That's right.
Resources advice.
How about that? I teed it up.
Pow! Left-handed. I hit a Bubba Watson.
Uh-huh.
So, speaking of entrenched tentacles into the business and the community, right? Our friends at Kraken, one of the smartest products to come out. We talked last week about Everdays, and I think that we'll see Everdays on with us soon. It didn't work this week. However, Kraken's one of those products that literally is making a difference in funeral home operations. So let's run their promo.
Is your current business management tool responsive to your needs? Just think about it. Are your tech partners there when you need them the most? At Kraken, we view customer success as different than customer service. Customer success is about you. It's proactive, and it focuses on the opportunities to help you perform better. Customer success learns your processes and provides you with the best business solutions. Our customer success team includes a dedicated customer success specialist who collaborates with you every step of the way. We deliver real people to help you solve real problems. We also deliver professional training to you and your team on site or by webinar. We know that new processes can sometimes be scary to our colleagues. To help the timid adapt to change, your customer success specialist will work with you to make them comfortable and productive as quickly as possible. Tips like these can free up your time so you can spend more time with your families. Learn more about Kraken's productivity and efficiency tools at kraken.net. How will you spend the time you save?
Let's get cracking.
Cool stuff. All right. So the next episode that you see from us, Jeff will be somewhere probably outside of Phoenix, most likely. I will be somewhere outside of the United States. And we're going to do our best to bring you that episode live on Facebook, just like we did over the holidays, which we got a great response from that. So when we have that planned and know exactly what's going to happen, which we probably will not, but we will give you as much leeway as possible, and we will post on our Facebook page about when that live event is going to be taking place. It should be interesting because everyone knows when you're live, anything could happen. It could be a colossal failure. It could be the most genius thing that ever happens. Who knows? You're going to have to tune in to find out.
That's it. And I'm always cognizant on lives that I have to not be Ron White, where I had the right to remain silent, but not the ability.
That's right.
That's for me.
There's no do-over.
Yeah, there's no do-over. Once that cat's out of the bag, it comes out scratching. Just a terrible Charlie event. You never know. So how about we talk about Ring Ring?
Ring Ring.
SEO and reaching your community. Folks, this marketing, I sent out a piece. It should be in, I believe, the Director magazine next month. It's just not one piece. There's lots of it. You can't just rely on one sector. It's a complete piece of pie. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know Welton Hong, you're wrong. There we go. If you don't know Welton, you're wrong.
Rhymes.
Ring Ring. Let's show what they're all about.
We're Ring Ring Marketing. We help funeral homes generate at least 10 more at-need calls per month. Our techniques help you dominate local search rankings and become the top choice for services in your area. We also proudly offer a 100% money-back guarantee. For a free copy of our book, visit www.funeralhomeprofits.com.
Okay, Commander. Well, I think that wraps up episode 142.
Yeah, and I'll be up in your neck of the woods this week.
And I won't be here.
You're gone, so maybe you can leave a coat behind for me to wear because
You actually picked the right time. It's supposed to be 60 today, 60 tomorrow, and then it gets down into the 40s, which for you is probably going to feel like Arctic blast, but you could be the only one in the state with a coat on at 40 degrees.
True, and it's going to rain, so
Yeah, it's going to, you know what? It probably will not rain as hard as it did at the Phoenix Open, where the one day out of the year that it rains is on the final round of one of the funnest golf tournaments. But whatever, it added a level of excitement and unpredictability.
it did. Hey, and by the way, we need to make sure and promote post your selfie. I got a few
Yes,
folks
yes.
get an ICCFA. We're going to fast track you. Don't mess it up.
That's
And
right.
it's, I want to go to school. SKOOL. You do that, we'll fast track you.
Jeez. All right. Until next time, have a great effing week.
Out here.